Welcome to the first of hopefully many recordings here of the World Series Madness Tournament. So, this is for MLB Showdown. We thought we would spend uh, however long it takes really to finish this project of a 32 team MLB Showdown tournament, March Madness style, between all the World Series winners and the World Series losers of the last 16 years. So, most recently, we have the Nationals up here, and the oldest one being the '04 Red Sox and '04 Cardinals. And that's the one we're going to be talking about today because I am going to be playing that series next week with Eddie Melville. So this is going to be an interesting project. So I'm interested to see who wins, who loses their grudge matches, and who ends up being the last team standing, who ends up being the king of the hill. So going to 2004, a quick recap of what happened. In '04, the Red Sox broke the curse, swept the Cardinals 4-0, very anticlimactic for breaking the curse. They had a very dramatic series versus the Yankees, being down 0-3. So then they would tear off 8 straight postseason wins. Manny being the World Series MVP. Pujols was the NLCS MVP, and Ortiz was the ALCS MVP with his heroics in that series. So Red Sox win a blowout game one, win somewhat decisively game two here. Schilling is actually okay with that sutured up foot, and then Pedro relatively dominant, and they shut him out game three. Derek Lowe, who had a tough season, ends up closing the series down. So I'm not going to go into all the stats. So we're going to get into what do these teams look like and what do I think is going to happen. So here are the 12 Red Sox batters from the '04 set. So, and I just lost Johnny Damon. There he is. So, as best as I can figure, this is what my lineup will likely be for the AL games. We're going to let the manager of the team decide whether they bat with or without a DH. I am guessing, since I have a pretty big advantage with DH, that the opposing manager is going to make me play by NL rules. So, interesting thing here, this Red Sox team was the highest scoring team in the league, and it does not look like a team that would get a whole lot of runs, to be honest with you, in Showdown. Definitely not the best lineup in the league, not the best lineup in this series, in my opinion. Uh, the interesting weapons you have is a plus 20 speed Johnny Damon here, who has a lot of ways to get himself into scoring position as a 9. So he can steal. We're going to be playing no strategy cards, so it'll be unlimited steals, uh, unless we find that ends up being challenging. The other thing we're going to be doing is for the tired rules, pitchers will lose 1 control, but also the batter will get +1 to the swing for each inning pitched they pitch tired, make it a little bit more punishing. And also, every game is theoretically played sequentially, except for if you finish your series early, you'll get 1 extra day for as long as it takes your opponent to catch up with you. So you could start back fresh and they will still be tired. So, because there's no travel. The interesting thing here for me is you have Damon who can get himself into scoring position, and then 10 or hires for Ortiz and Manny behind him. Um, this is where they're really missing Nomar, trading him away mid-season. It would be nice to have somebody with a high single who could do some damage in that number 2 hole and then get driven in with some by homers by Ortiz and Ramirez. But the cards don't catch the attitude issues and the malcontentness. So the after that, we are going to go with a couple of 9s and then a 10 Jason Varitek. So decent on base all the way up to the 7th spot with an 8 with Kevin Youkilis here. So and then a pair of speed A's at the bottom. So these 3 are going to potentially manufacture some runs. Hope to get a little power from 2, 3, 2 and 3 really. And then you're just trying to not even manufacture, just string some stuff together in the middle. That's where I just don't think that we're going to get a ton of runs, especially due to the lack of speed over here. The 3 consecutive speed A's will do something, but then 4 speed C's hurts. And then gonna hop over here. Infield +8 is decent, and that's gonna be in the American League. Infield +6 in the National League when I have to switch out Ortiz in at second base with the -2 fielding for Kevin Millar. So I'm also losing a 9 on base and losing 2 fielding there. Speed stays the same because the pitcher will run at a 10 for Millar. So the National League lineup is going to be even more challenged. Going to the pitching staff, we're doing a 3-man rotation. Every starter needs 2 days of rest to be fully rested. So going with Kurt Schilling, 6'1" to 16. Gonna be tough to put up too many runs on him for most lineups. I think the Cardinals will be all right. Pedro is a 1 to 15.5, 3 to 9 strikeout, which is good. He would normally protect himself from speed, but that's not going to be too much of an issue here. Also, you'd be scared with Schilling with no walk and all singles that they'd be able to steal second and manufacture some runs, but this isn't really the lineup that's going to do that. Always good to check on your catcher's fielding. Veritek with a 4. Not great. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think the Cardinals can punish him. We'll go into that. And then Wakefield as a 4-1 to 14 who gives up a homer. This is going to be tough, especially if he has to pitch twice in the series. You have 5 chances between Pedro and Schilling to win 4 games, which is a tall ask because I think this is the biggest mismatch of the series, is whether you go with Wakefield or you go with Lowe, finding a way to win games 3 and 6. So that being said, one of the big strengths, the Red Sox best chance to win is to potentially have some long games with a pretty, by Showdown standards, a decent bullpen, but better than the Cardinals. Here, the big weapon being Keith Falk with his ability to go 2 innings as a 5-1 to 16. So that will hopefully be able to hold off most lineups, not give up big damage. Can have runs manufactured against him. Everybody in the Red Sox pitching staff can have runs manufactured against him, except for Pedro here. So a lot of tallies, and the question is, are they going to tally up 4 or 5 runs, or are they going to tally up 1-0 run? That is the big question here. You have a third of an inning pitch guy. Those are always not what you want to see in a pre-constructed game. These were definitely made for constructed purposes. So in a pre-constructed game, when you're getting somebody who tires out so quickly, it is a little tough, and especially if they're not even dominant for the one batter, 3-1 to 16. Not exactly what you're hoping for. So their opposition here. This is, if you look here, these 5 guys are going to do a heavy amount of lifting. They might do 90% of the offense. And especially these 3. You got Roland. Any one of these guys could be the best guy on a World Series team. So it'd be interesting to see how many teams Scott Rowland would be their best players. A 10, speed B, third base +3, 18 to 20, 17 triple, 15, 16 double. That is a great card, and he is the 3rd best option on this team. Albert Pujols and Edmonds, both 10s, speed Bs, 17 to 20. Big doubles. Pujols with 4 doubles on his chart. Edmonds with 3 doubles on his chart. So these guys are going to punish. The challenging part about the Cardinals lineup is, and I'm always interested in how you guys would handle this, is how do you actually bat them, though? The best I can figure is they could just run it down like this, go on base, high to low, and just live with that. But there's no synergy there. I don't feel like they're complementing each other. They're just good individual pieces. So there is an option here to put Mabry at the leadoff spot. You're not losing a ton of pop. You're not wasting it. but he's slow, and does that, how does that work? But I guess if you're expecting home runs, also the Red Sox, again, Schilling's a 6, so that's going to counter out a lot of the power. I mean, you're getting enough chances that he's going to give the advantage a few times, but they're going to be on his chart plenty. Not a lot of people who can steal to take advantage of that. Pedro able to work around trouble with that 1 to 9 non-advancing out, but a 4 giving up a homer on his own chart is, I think he's going to get crushed. Plus the 1 to 14 out in Wakefield, people are going to get on there. He's going to have to roll more times. Cannot get himself out of trouble. I think the Cardinals could score a lot of runs here. So nothing really coming off the bench here. You do have some speed A's who can come off the bench, but it kind of hurts the lineup. I mean, maybe you pinch run Reggie Sanders for Ray Langford at some point, or Roger Cedeno coming in for Ray Langford. Maybe Langford Cedeno starts if you find out you need to manufacture some runs. That's an option towards the bottom of the order. They're pieces, but I don't know if any of them are really great. Likely when you switch over here to when they're in the National League Park, they're losing Langford the 7 versus Kevin Millar the 9. That's why I think that's the option here. Infield for them is a 7. Not great, but like the Red Sox don't have great speed except for with their bad hitters and Johnny Damon at the top. So Damon's probably not going to be grounding into a lot of double plays. So outfield plus 6. That's good. We'll see if that comes into effect. Probably keep those slow guys at bay from trying to extend from second. 1 speed A, bit tougher, but not really going to be exploitable. Very, very in the middle on speed here. I think the on base and charts of the Cardinals is going to be what makes the difference in this series. And this is something we've seen with Cardinal teams a lot in the past. High control guys. Carpenter, very close to Kurt Schilling. 6, 1 to 16. Out. I think Schilling gets 1 more non-advancing out is really the difference there. And I believe Schilling gets 1 more inning pitch. So that will probably not make a big difference in their game so much as it'll make a difference in the series. But they have 3 guys right here who could easily go their 6 innings. So they're going to go their 6 innings, give up 1 or 2 runs, they're hoping. Turn it over to a bullpen where you have Isringhausen, who's a 6, with giving up no homers. So 1 to 15 out. He's by far their best reliever. The big concern here, and this is what I'm going to try to capitalize on the Red Sox manager, that 3rd run on the starter is going to be so important because they only have 3 guys who can pitch full innings out of the pen. Matt Morris coming on as the starter with a 5, 1 to 14, 2 doubles. I can live with that. And Cal Eldred. So this is a 4, but he has a homer on his own chart and an 18 to 90. I can manufacture runs against him, and I can also just get lucky and roll a 20. So if he pitches, in 6 innings this series, I should get 1 home run off of him just off of his chart. And it'd be great if it was from the bottom of the order somewhere or with somebody on base. So their 2 inning pitch guy is not nearly as much of a weapon as Folk, though the Red Sox don't have a second guy like Isringhausen. So their 1/3 of an innings pitch guys are much better though. So Klein is one of those dominant 4 1 to 18s, but luckily it's only for 1/3 of an inning. So the question is, how will Eddie use those, and can I find a way to do some damage back at them? So I am curious what you guys think the outcome will be and how you would play this. Remembering we can steal it. We forgot to check. Matheny's arm is a 6. So basically that means I'm probably only stealing with Damon and Reese. The interesting question is whether or not I put Reese in the 9 hole or whether I put him in the 8 hole. So to try to put somebody on who can steal in front of Damon, or do I just have a batter? I'm guessing I put him in the 9 spot with that speed because most of the time versus the starter, they're not even going to have to roll anyway. This is very interesting, but I need that +4 at shortstop, putting Cabrera in at +2 to not get the advantage. Really can't do all that much damage. Even as a 7, just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. So, one thing that might come in is that I have no second catcher with Veritek. So I am stuck with using him. I cannot pinch run there. Other than that, I do have the ability to move people around with Reese being able to play second and short, Bellhorn second and third. So Mueller can play third and second. So I can do some shifting, and then Roberts can pinch run for anybody. Can pinch run for all my outfielders there. So I am curious what you think will happen in this series here. So put that in the comments below. I will come back here and we will put out the recording of how it goes.